morning, everyone. It's Paul from Alexander Knife Sharpening. So I just woke up, turned on my YouTube feed, and I see some guy who reviews and sells knives with a buck knife, cutting it, doing a best test on it, and he gets a score of 40, and he's all like, wow, this is awesome. It's razor sharp. And he's doing his best test totally wrong. This is such a pet peeve of mine. So I'm going to do a video on the BESS Tester, and let's get this information out there so people stop doing this wrong. I see it also all the time with these companies that are selling these like gimmick sharpeners, and sadly I think they do it on purpose. I don't think it's just a lack of knowledge. I think they do this to make it seem so much better than it actually isn't. So let's get into it. Here's the BESS Tester. Here's how to use it properly. Here's how to do a proper test. And don't do what you see out here on so many people do on the internet, which is completely wrong. So here's my BESS Tester. The BESS Tester sells different types of cut media. A lot of people feel that this is the most accurate one, which is one that is done at the factory. It's supposedly a set tension amount. You do that with this little clip holder. The clip holder goes in the center here, and you cut your piece of filament that they send you. And that's one way to do a BESS test. Another one is to use their cartridges, and these are great too. They're apparently not quite as accurate, but you can make them fairly accurate. And one of the most important things to accuracy on this type of cartridge is how you load it and the amount of tension. So the tension on the line is an important factor. I don't remember if it was an ounce or there was a certain amount of tension that they do recommend if you want the absolute perfect results to what their lab testing is. I forget what the weight is. It never really mattered that much to me. What I do to get accurate tension on the line every time is I tighten the one side, and I use a pair of forceps, and I will dangle my forceps down like that. So it's the same amount of weight. So it's not me pulling on it. I just use these forceps, and then I tighten it up. You know, I have actually two of them. I used to do tons and tons of testing. I don't do as much anymore. When I did a lot of it, or when I'm doing a lot of it, sometimes I like to have cartridges ready to go, and that's how I'll do it. So I just hang it down, let the tension be the same amount, and then I tighten the line. So that's how to get accurate results out of your cartridge. Now, what's the biggest mistakes? The number one mistake you're going to see people make with the BESS Tester is they chop the line. And what I mean by chopping the line is the proper way to do a BESS test is it is a push cut test. It is not a chop cut test. And what you do is you slowly push through the test media until it cuts. And when it cuts, this stops reading, and you should see this display go up incrementally. It should slowly scroll up. Biggest mistake people make with this is they do what I just saw someone do in that video. He lined up, he got down here, and he said 1, 2, 3, and he chopped the line, and he had a score of 40. So you can see here I got a score of 83. That's completely wrong. That's what you don't want to do. And properly done BESS tests, I'm going to move this so you can see this scrolling. So I'm coming over to the other side. A properly done BESS test will give you a relatively close score each time. All right? And keep in mind, we're testing one little teeny, microscopic area of this blade. So does it tell you the whole blade? No. You could test it in a couple spots and get an average, but in general, it's, you have to always keep that in mind too. You're testing one tiny little spot. Because I'm going to try and cut is very close to the same spot both times. And I'm going to try and hit that black mark as close as I can get it. And look for the scrolling of the numbers to slowly go up, all right? And here we go. 215. Okay, so let's take a look at that result. 215. Is that a good result? Is it a bad result? I guarantee if he had done a second test with that buck knife, he wouldn't have got a 40. Okay, his results would probably be even way off. So we're at 215. 215 is just above a utility razor blade. Now, do y'all really believe that his buck knife was a 40, sharper than a double-edged razor blade? Come on. There's no way that that buck knife was sharper than a double-edged razor blade. And, you know, guys get a little bit obsessed sometimes with BESS scores. They almost like golf scores. They keep trying to get lower and lower numbers, but chopping the line is not giving you any type of accurate results. You cannot chop the line. Now, can you get a buck knife way down there? Absolutely you can. If you put a super low angle on it and sharpen it to a really high grit, you can get incredibly low scores on the BESS tester. But keep in mind, it's not the only factor. Like, what good is a knife that if you use it 2 times, it goes dull because the edge can't, it has no edge retention. So that's my one issue with the BESS tester is guys get way too obsessed with getting crazy low scores. But let's continue looking at it here as far as accuracy goes. So you can see my cartridge gave me a 215. Let's see where the little certified cartridges come in and see how close those results should be. And I have found that generally they're relatively close, even if you're doing the cartridge test or the preloaded cartridges or the ones that you load yourself. As long as you load it properly, you'll be in the ballpark of pretty good, accurate, repeatable results. So many people get obsessed with this thing. And it's a great tool, but you got to use it properly. It's just like anything else. If you're not using it the correct way, you're getting improper results. And then the data means nothing if you use it improperly. All right, so let's come down here. All right, I got my little black mark. I look like I'm right where I should be. And let's do like he did again. Well, we'll do the 1, 2, 3 chop. 1, 2, 3 chop. 60. All right. And we know there's no way this knife is not 60. All right. Okay, so there's our bad result. We'll tear it out. And now I'm going to do 2 proper tests for you. And I'm going to try and get this as close to the same spot both times, if I can. We will do our push cut this time, a proper push cut. So steady pressure straight through that piece of monofilament line and look for the numbers to scroll up. All right, here we go. Ready? 225. All right. So you can see we're different than our cartridge test, but at least we're in the 200s. All right. Now let's do a second one. And the hardest thing here is trying to hit the same spot. You're never going to get it exactly, but when I'm doing like something like this, I try and hit as close to the same point every time. All right, here we go. 207. So do you see how much closer those are in number? So our first one, 225. Our second time, 207. Well within the margin of error, but it shows you that can be a very accurate test and give you a lot of information if done properly. But if you do it improperly, if you chop the line, inevitably you're going to get completely skewed results that just don't mean anything. So the BESS Tester is a fantastic tool. Like I said, I love it, but you got to use it properly. And that's it. Have a great day, everybody. I hope that helps you out. Please spread the word, share the video, like it. Let's get the word out there so that guys that have this stop using it wrong. And also, you know, and like I said before, unfortunately, I think some companies that sell these like gimmicky sharpeners love to do improper BESS tests to show like, oh, look, this is the best sharpener in the world. And then you see them chopping the line and it's like, your test means nothing. So now you know that's the proper way to do a BESS test.